does a lot of 3D printing stuff on YouTube. He's a fellow YouTuber as well. So we've known each other for a while.
Just a little while.
But just a little while.
A little while.
Just nothing like a decade or something.
Plus,
or over.
More.
Over a decade. And
they've been torturing me for a long time.
Yeah, we have. It's been awesome.
It's teamwork, man.
It's what we do.
You can't provide quality suffering to somebody else on your own. It's effort.
So, I wanted to ask you, first thing, I know the answer to it, but not everybody else knows the answer to it. Everybody knows what 3D print works, kind of, maybe. And people know what, of course, your last name is Nolan, but it's NolanC. What is NolanC?
Well, this goes
a while
20,
back.
Almost 20 years back too, but it's so I go to school, I get and work on my graphics design degree, and that's the goal and everything I want to move through. And so I kept looking, trying to figure out, what's your own brand? How do you create your own brand? So thinking in graphic design sphere, I need that brand. I need to work that. And there's actually obviously other gentlemen industries out there with a similar tag, but it's the NolanC was just Nolan Creative, because I am as, I guess if we did the proper medicals, maybe I'm ADD, who knows? But
You're eclectic.
My attention goes, my attention, it lasts 5 minutes in one thing, and I do something else, and and that's where the creative come in, because I've done welding, I tinker with motorcycles, I've done 3D printing, painting, artwork,
metal sculpture, found art,
foundry.
Yep.
Yeah, and then.
Oh, you know what? I haven't seen what did y'all used to call her? The she-beast?
Yeah, she-beast is standing in my shed she guards my bikes. And then
nice.
now we have Mannequin. Mannequin slightly confused. Yeah, he's got a great flower dress sweater and skirt that my wife's given him. So you should remember Mannequin. Do you remember it was a lunchtime thing over at Habitat? And they had Mannequin in the back, and it's like, oh, $10. I'm like, if this guy's really for sale, I'm buying it. So we go on lunch, and that's when we left with Mannequin in the back of the car. Didn't even know if it would fit, and I'm all walking out with Mannequin on my shoulder. Got it for $10 and stuffed him in the back.
We used to do the weirdest things.
Y'all were so weird.
But
go to lunch, come back with vodka and signatures from Dan Aykroyd. I'm like, what are they doing?
That was awesome.
We've added to that collection. So the trip that we just took, we went through Roswell, and we were driving down the road with my dad, and it's like, wait, that says Alien Tequila. Can we check that out? It's like 7:30 in the morning, but apparently that's not a problem in New Mexico.
Okay.
So we're in the liquor store at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. You know me, I'm a little bit of a penny pincher. Tequila was a little too expensive, but they did have green alien vodka in a similar alien head, similar to the Crystal Skull.
Nice.
So now, and it's on my Instagram, which is
nice.
It's the NolanC 3D print works. Might be on my personal, but I'll transfer it over. So they're occupying the same shelf now.
That's nice.
Alien and Skull. And then we've got a small one for my father-in-law. So I went with the vodka. So that's.
Did you try it already?
No, I haven't.
No,
I haven't, definitely. I don't know if we'll crack that. I should order another.
I was like, you should have cracked it. We would have drunk it on air. Well, at least you and I and Chris, and not Colleen, because she doesn't drink.
I'm a responsible grown-up.
We won't drive.
That's totally responsible.
We won't drive for like an hour or two.
At least hold it back.
Just one little sip.
Okay.
It'll be okay. But we've always done a lot of geeky stuff together. And I don't know if anybody saw the video that we did last night in the park at the duck pond. But we were out there playing with this new app called Pokémon Go, which, if you don't know what Pokemon is, it was a Nintendo anime. Did it come as a video game before it came as a cartoon?
Video game first. It was the video game first.
It was a video game first, and then, but I didn't really know about it until after the cartoon, the anime.
Well, because our oldest kid was born in 1992. So he probably didn't start playing on the Game Boy until think 2000, 2001. He was probably 8 or 9 when we first got him the Game Boy. And I'm pretty sure that Pokemon Yellow was like the first game he ever got on his Game Boy. And at one time,
and that was just
one of them
Game Boy.
had
Game Boy. It was like
yeah,
the black and
the rectangle
black
that was
and
like that.
gray.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I used to try and fight that with.
and
my
it didn't
parents
even
'cause
have a
they're stealing it
backlight
for
either, did
Tetris.
it?
Yeah, no.
Not even
You
a
had to have that
backlight.
add-on brick.
Yep.
top of the
Yes, we
magnifier
did.
and
We
the
had
light.
that thing. Yes.
I fought that thing with my parents. They would steal it and play Tetris.
Yes, me
I
too.
couldn't get it from them.
Me too.
It's my Game Boy. Like, I'm almost done.
I'm Tetrising. Shut up.
So this thing now, this app is like bringing Pokemon catching to a whole nother level.
Well, okay.
I
Let
think
me
so.
interject something
Okay.
really quickly. It's not, to me, it's not that new and innovative because Vincent and I used to play this game. What's it called? Ingress, right?
Ingress.
We used to play this game
virus.
called Ingress. And you were kind
Chris
of like
plays
part
Ingress.
of...
I still play Ingress.
He still plays it.
Oh, so is it still alive? It's still
alive,
going.
yes.
Okay. So
I still get email for it all the time.
Ingress was a lot of fun. Like, you were kind
Yeah.
of part of an underground spy network, and you were going around the city, and there were different portals and stuff, and you would try to take it over, and you could get points and stuff. So it was kind of, don't you think, Chris? Kind
yeah.
of the same concept, right?
Sans the
Sounds the cute Pokemon.
right.
And catching things.
The augmented reality, sans that.
Yeah. So the kids, our kids, used to give us the hard, that's not a real game, that's dumb, why are y'all driving around? We would like get close enough, and if you would get close enough to a station but not close enough, you'd have to get out of the car and go walk up
and
to
walk
it and
up
stuff.
a little bit closer.
Yeah. So we'd be like all over the place, like causing traffic. No, we didn't do that. That's
Pulling up,
irresponsible. Just kidding.
Stopping buses.
We actually parked.
We would park.
I think we're doing more of
do
that
it
stopping
safer.
traffic now.
Still safer.
And this is just in a matter of
2 days.
A day, yeah.
Yeah.
So when is it Australia first? I don't remember the release order by country, but I know we didn't get hit right away.
No.
But my wife Michelle brought up a very good point because we geocache,
Ooh, very nice.
and if you look at this, it's the exact merger of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody was telling me that
It's
too.
a real kind of thing to pull into it. So you've got different pieces. But I did notice proximity. Yes, I'm playing. The proximity to a target, whatever it is, a Pokemon, a Pokestop, or even a gym, is not like you need to be standing next to the thing to
Right.
trigger it.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I'm on the 3rd floor of a building triggering a Pokestop on the first level of the whole ground piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a
But
pretty
once it gets a
good.
little bit beyond that, it kind of
Yeah.
it's out of reach. But
You have a pretty good circle where you can get things. Obviously, because it's new, we've experienced a lot of the glitchy stuff.
yeah,
Servers are down.
server.
Well, I think there's just so many people playing it. In fact,
Well, but you
I
saw
think
mine.
it's taken it beyond what Ingress was doing, even though a lot of people were playing that, but it wasn't as obvious.
Right.
I don't necessarily know if it was maybe the genre because Ingress was more like kind of like secret spy oriented, and this has become a little more social. Pokemon Go is a little more social because when we're out there last night, we're all conversing with each other saying, oh, there's such and such Pokemon over here.
Well, I was
There's
just
a Bulbasaur
surprised
over
at
here.
the number of people that were out. Like, we think we're smart, right? Oh. Well, this thing says that you need to get out and walk around and you need to go to, like, public attractions. So we're like, well, let's go to the duck pond in our neighborhood, right? That's walking around. It's a public attraction. Sure enough, there's 4 Pokestops there. Since there's a pond, there's water Pokemon, there's land
Okay,
Pokemon.
I didn't even think about the actual environment affecting the availability of Pokemon.
And it's supposed to. So the guys got one. Mine was glitching at the time, so I didn't get this. It was a Starmie or something like that they got.
Oh, the Staryu.
Staryu, yeah. Mine was glitching, so I could see the circles where the Pokemon were supposed to be, but there was nothing showing up there.
That's right. I'd
So-
still be there right now throwing down Pokeballs at him and just watching them miss and watch my numbers go down. I sat there forever. It's like... I started
don't
doing the whole
love-
poor Nintendo user thing too with the... trying to hoof that Pokemon. I was like, come on, just hit him.
And I don't
was
love
even
that dynamic.
because that was even as far back as the Atari, where you were like doing this with a joystick or.
Yeah, you're leaning in. Or
It's like
or
that
palm.
doesn't help it. It's you can just move
No,
it like
totally
this.
helps.
It totally helps. It don't listen to Vince. It helps.
Paint makes things go faster no matter what color, and moving the joystick in wild, random ways does all sorts of things.
But we were surprised at how many people were out there playing, walking around, talking to one another, being like, "Oh, I found such and such Pokemon over here. Oh, come over here. I found this one." I think there's a
That's
limited number because sometimes we would go to places and they wouldn't be there, or we would catch stuff and then they were like, "Oh, we didn't find that
It's
there."
like a respawn rate.
Yeah, I think that there's a certain respawn rate.
Well, that's like
so
the experience I had. You guys know me. I'm pretty much a private person except for the YouTube stuff I do. And I went to that first Pokestop, and it was really weird. I felt weird because you know me. I have maybe it's phobia of being embarrassed, but I've got my 6+, and I'm just looking at this Pokestop, and I didn't read the directions, of course, because hey, the guy who guided me's already disappeared, so that means I must know everything.
right.
I must know
So
everything.
I'm
I know what to
standing
do.
looking at the Pokestop, going, "What do I do with this thing?" And out of the reflection, I see another person on the other side of this Pokestop. And they give that weird, and I'm like, I wonder if they're hunting. But then I felt like I'd gotten busted doing something I shouldn't, so I stuffed my phone in my pocket. Kind of horrible, looking all nervous and stuff.
Well,
You could
there
see
was
them
one on
wandering
that
around,
video.
weren't they?
There were 2 kids last night, and they looked like they felt like they were too cool, right? They had that kind of athletic, they looked kind of like they were skaters maybe, right? And the rest of us are like, we're nerds. It was obvious, like most of us
We
are
can
wearing
handle it.
some kind of like nerd shirt, right? It was just totally obvious, the ones of us that were nerds out. And these 2 are walking along, and I'm filming for Facebook, I'm live filming. And I'm like, oh, look at all these people. And as the kid walks by, he's like, I'm not playing Pokemon, I'm watching porn. Like, he would rather
get
be
busted watching
busted
porn.
doing that than playing Pokemon. So there still is this kind of stigma. And then I totally snagged him because I looked over his shoulder and I saw the Pokeball and he was trying to flick it to catch something. And I was like, you're a liar. I see your Pokeball.
So I got
Admit.
breakfast, and I came back out, and I'm like, I should have asked that person. Are you hunting? Because it's not weird. It would have been funny. They'd be like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, it's just a game. I could have walked my way out of it. So it was almost the conference book, because then I sat down and I'm like,
Yeah, and we
and
also.
I don't remember what was there. It was a Weedle or something. And
Well,
I'm
tell them
sitting
about
there to
Toys R
catch
Us last night.
Yeah, we go to. Well, before that, because we're talking about what happened there.
Oh, yeah.
We also met up with another YouTuber there that was, looking for Pokemon as well. And he was from. He's another YouTuber, Hopeful Survivor, on there.
Cool,
so
man.
look him up. He does Minecraft stuff. He streams Minecraft.
Did you see? I didn't have a chance to look last night. Is he a hopeful survivor because he's hoping he'll survive through his video games, or do we
I
know
would
why
guess
he's
so.
so hopeful?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
What's
I
the
survive
explanation?
this time because I suck at games. No,
That's my role.
that would be
Oops.
my hashtag.
Oops. Do we have anything coming through
No.
on?
Nobody's chatting yet. They don't know yet to chat. They're not.
They don't know
They're
yet.
not.
They need to get used to the new time.
They're not used to the
day
new
and
time. They will. They will.
They will.
So the Toys R Us story.
Okay, so we finish at the park, and we're with our youngest at that time. Do we drop him off?
No,
What
it was
happens?
before the park.
Was it before the park?
It was after the
Okay,
Game Expo
that's
meeting
right.
before the park. We had a long day
So-
yesterday.
It was looking
We
like
go
it.
we go to pick up our middle son, and he's at work, and we go over there, drop by, and then the Toys R Us is a gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also like the little Lego kid there too.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And that's a Pokestop.
That's a Pokestop.
Also,
So you
a
can
portal.
get also a portal. Yeah, it is a portal. I remember that in Ingress.
It is a portal.
So it must be merged somehow with Google.
Yeah, it is because
Whatever
that's how you can
Google,
sign it.
right,
Yeah. So there's these 4 employees outside of Toys R Us, also I guess waiting for their rides because they're all in that 18 to 24 bracket or whatever. So we pick up Zach and we're driving, And technically, you're supposed to walk for Pokemon Go, but if you drive under 20 miles an hour, it kind of thinks you're walking, so you can still
Does it
pick
shut down?
stuff up. Yeah, if you're driving fast, you won't
Oh, that's
catch
slick.
anything.
Yeah.
That's better. So,
So-
at least it'll be a low-grade crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 20 miles an hour.
Why is that not applied to just general phone use? It boggles the mind.
So you'll just slightly wound somebody.
Slightly wounding people. So it's like 10:20 at night. So the parking lot is empty and everything. So we're driving like super slow around the parking lot to see if we can find anything. And then Zach's like, oh, you know what? I'm at level 5 now. He levels up. He's like, I can put one of my Pokemon at that gym because it's not claimed. So we're driving around and we get close back up to the Toys R Us, and we don't want these people to see, right? We don't want these workers to be like, what the hell's wrong with these people? Because we've already been around the parking lot once, right? But we're like, whatever, I don't give a crud. So we go over there and we get close so that we can get some more Pokeballs from the Pokestop and everything, and he puts the Pokemon on the gym. I guess they were playing too, because as soon as he puts the Pokemon on the gym, and it's like a medium level, it had like a CP of 80 or something, they put a pincher on there, and it had like a CP of 365.
Oh, yeah, no, that one's done.
Owned.
We got owned, and we were like, dang.
What he should have. That
So the
means at least he
CP
should
is like
show the
how
own for it, at
powerful
least.
the
Yeah.
Pokemon
point,
is.
Yes. So
Does
I've
that
never
come
played
across the games?
Game? I've
I
never
don't
played
think
the
there's
game.
CP and
No.
No, I
Is
don't
it not
think
an
so.
XP? Oh, no, wait. Is there a CP and an XP?
There was an XP
'Cause
and
I remember
there was
XP.
the PP for each move.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I'm not to a point yet where I feel comfortable to go to a gym and fight. Okay, because I'm only level 5, and I feel like if I
there's
go,
XP for you.
but I was gonna try to bring it up, but mine's still doing this.
Because there's a gym right there at where you work, Chris.
Right.
Because I was going over there and I just like popped it open. And I was like, oh shoot!
So do you?
but I'm
have-
not
Yeah,
Right.
I have
high
no
enough a level
team.
to fight that yet.
That,
I
that
have
goes,
no
that goes
team.
with that article that was on Facebook saying, Pokemon Go is going to get kids going back to church because most churches are now gyms.
The churches are gyms. They are, or they're Pokestops. So, I wish I could pull up my Pokemon list because then I could ask people like, what do these stats mean?
Did you see let me see what I have, because mine's not a lot in there, but let's see if it'll pull something. Maybe it'll help.
I did learn that. So the boys told me you want to capture a lot, because I didn't want to capture a lot of the same Pokemon.
Right.
I was like, well, I don't want 20 Pidgeys because I already have a Pidgey. But when you go to capture the Pidgey, you can check and see what level it is, what CP it is, because the CP is apparently important in this game for something that I don't understand yet. If it's higher, you capture it, or even if it's lower, you capture it, and then you can transfer the lower level CPs to this professor guy, and then you get like Pidgey candies, or you get Pikachu candies, or whatever for whatever you transfer, and then the candies
Let you
evolve your
Or
Pokemon.
it lets you power them up or evolve them.
Yeah.
Well, I think evolves you need different stuff.
No, I used my Pidgey, so I had a ton of Pidgeys, like everywhere we were going. I guess because it's a duck pond, so
Yeah.
there's Pidgeys, right?
Well, the
Okay.
candy just
I would've
increases their
figured.
power, I think.
No, I evolved last night. I evolved my highest level Pidgey to a Pidgeotto.
I would have preferred Psyduck to be at the pond.
Yeah.
I wanted Psyduck. We were
Oh,
looking.
yeah, that'd
We
be-
found a Jigglypuff and we were totes excited.
Yeah.
We
But
were like,
right now it's like
"Jigglypuff! It's gonna run up people's faces.
We got Jigglypuff. We got Pikachu.
Got a Pikachu. I wanted the Bulbasaur, and my thing glitched
That
out.
was my first one. Was a Bulbasaur.
That was supposed to
One
be
of
my
our
first one too, and because the Bulbasaur was like right in the backyard, and mine glitched out and it froze, so I had to like delete everything and then
So,
start over.
I know-
though.
I was looking at your Facebook and you were mentioning something about this Pokemon Go stuff.
Which part?
I don't remember
It's like-
what it was about. Like you were like, oh, whatever about this Pokemon Go stuff. I think it was something negative about
That's what I was just
Pokemon
gonna say.
Go.
Look at what's the flip side of this coin right now, because the volume of amateur Pokemon, whatever. I'm going to get skewered on the internet for a wrong term here, I'm sure of it, and that's fine. Educate me, but look at the other side of the coin. There's players who have been. I mean, they're knee deep in. They've been there from day one, and they're just like, oh, it must be a suffering. Oh God, all these people now who don't know squat. Running
Yeah,
around
because this
testing
was
stuff,
actually
so-
released as a beta the day before, or 2 days before, something
Right.
like that. And people were already playing it before then. It was a limited release. And now that it's like, because I think our cell phone data has been like, we should have good data right here where we are in our studio. We usually do, and we're having issues with our Facebook Live video.
So
just
I
a while
think people
ago.
are just
so
like
I think
killing
people
it.
are so killing it using their data. I have to look at and see how much data we've been using, but a lot of people
didn't
should
even
look at
think
their
about
data
that.
and see how much they're
Stats
using
on the app.
and see, because we're getting really low
So
connection.
Lisa said that she literally almost wrecked her car trying to catch a Pokemon today. Today. And then Lord of the Lesbian said, OMG, Chris was just talking about that game last night. What were you saying, Chris?
I was being a hipster. That's okay.
Yeah. You were like, it's not a true Pokemon
That's not
game.
true Pokemon. Watered down Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
Get that stuff out of here.
It's fun. If you like Ingress, you'll like.
Pokemon for amateurs.
It's fun. Like, I think it's fun.
I think it's a little more interactive
Than
than
Ingress.
Ingress.
That's true. But see, I enjoyed the secret.
I did like that about that.
You know, like what
It
team are you
was-
on? Do I want to talk to you about
Yeah.
Walk to hatch the egg.
And we just actually got a subscription. Print 3D channel has subscribed to us.
Cool. Yeah.
So pretty cool.
So here's another thing I think that is super interesting. We're 3 days into Pokemon Go, and there are already urban legends. Okay, like seriously. Last night the kids are telling me, okay, for real, this happened.
3DPrint channel?
Some
Yeah.
kid had his expensive
Print 3D
smartphone,
channel.
was looking for Pokemon Go, wasn't paying attention to where he was walking, walked into the wrong neighborhood, got stabbed for his expensive phone because he was waving it around playing Pokemon Go. I'm like, you know that's not true. You know that didn't happen. That is like already...
But you can find Pokemon in your backyard.
Already the
so, like,
urban
people
legends
want to
of
go
BS
into the
are
backyard,
like...
and that's like, it's going to get somebody shot. That's what people are saying. But
To
we
go into
actually
Well, maybe
have
this is a revitalization of common
message
sense.
from Print 3D channel. It says, "Hey Patrick and host of the show, great live broadcast. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
We appreciate it. Let people know, more people know about us.
So you're going to have to start 3D printing some Pokemon now.
Yeah.
But that runs two ways.
Do we have one?
So we were looking.
We don't.
At, that's depending on what's happening. I'm watching. I have a painfully large investment in something that's in production, and hopefully it'll be 3D printing molds to injection mold product type of
Nice.
thing. And there's a really cool idea that came out of Make Fair that these guys did, and I've told you about it. Was trying to get small pieces back into the capsule machine, owning capsule machines. So that people would grab things like that. But there's
That would be cool.
Forget
So
the
is that
name
what you're using
for
the 4x4 printer for?
No, the 48-inch printer is literally just for the like, wow, I want to print big.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing. I know squat about that. I know what I have in my own printer. I know what I can research. But that's the one thing about the printing. It's like I'll print it out. I've got a box, and most 3D printers do, and you probably do. It's just a box of scrap blown prints.
Yeah.
But it's like I can print it and break it and figure it out and make it stronger. So it's like it's that dream part. But the 48, I'm looking at that going OpenRC. I don't know if you've heard of them. This guy's done an open RC car concept. It's Formula One. So I want to the diagonal length of a 36 by 36
Nice.
bed and make that as large an RC as possible. I want to print people's living room kind of stuff. I want to print ET in 3 pieces.
Mhm.
So, because I mean, with
Can
him,
Can
do
ET
you want to
come in?
transition to that? Or
Can
go
Yeah,
to-
and a little bit before we get to that, come back to me. Well, they're gonna see anyway. Get it. Print 3D channel says Pokemon Go is the best app disguised as a health app, gets people out and about. It does, and the cool thing about it is that parks, you'll find a lot of Pokemon at parks too, like Colleen was saying. But you'll also get the interaction with everybody else that's playing, and that is like the biggest thing that I think has happened
As long as you're not
with an
afraid
app
and run away
with
from
the
them.
geek
I
community.
want to make sure it's like, oh, it's good. I was
And
looking
it's
at-
expanding the geek community, which is a good thing, which is what we're all about, is expanding geek culture to everyone.
Yeah, we were a little leery last night. I mean, it was like 11 o'clock at night, right? And there's a bunch of people in this dark park. So
Because it's
we were
after
like,
the
it's
cops are
after
like, "Great,
time
can't tell the
because the
pedophiles from
lights are
Pokemon."
off
yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, the lights
Right.
were off on the basketball court and everything. It's pretty dark, and
So
we're
we're
traipsing
probably
around.
technically trespassing.
I don't know if that
I don't
park
know.
has a closing time since it's an open air kind
Yeah.
of thing. I don't know.
Because it's not like you have to
it
go into
falls
like a
into
You
fence
don't
or
go
a
a
gate,
gate or
anything.
anything.
Or nine,
Yeah.
So that should be. I believe that's Jeffrey.
So at first
Jeffrey.
we're like,
Yeah,
Cool.
on 3DPrint channel. And if you want to talk about print big stuff, definitely follow on his channel. He's running a Gmax.
Mhm.
And the Gmax print volume, he'll put in 30-hour plus prints. He's got a killer flame vase that came out looking flawless. And
Wow.
he's already printing big. So I look at that and I'm just like, man, I print a block that big and stack it on. And I mean, I feel dense, honestly, because when I started, you got your 3D printer.
Well, I actually got mine before you.
Yeah.
Like a
And
long
I was
time
like-
before you.
I was sulky, man. I was like, dude, can we play with it? I mean, it was like your buddy just got a new go-kart or something when you were a little kid, and you're like, hey, come on, let's play. So it's...
oh yeah,
remember
we
I
still
have
love
It was
a
at
box
ChimeraCon where
of-
you really like got in there and was like messing with
Oh,
the
yeah, I went
with my
nuts at
3D
the
printer.
con. That was good.
And I was like, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and then I had a little electrical issue with it, just like a connector that we needed to get back on. In fact, it popped back off, and then you fixed it after.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've taken that 3D printing stuff because you have a background in it because of your graphic design, that you're able to do the 3D modeling that I could just download stuff from Thingiverse and
Yeah, well, it's done. I mean, that's where I've looked at a lot of things with Thingiverse too. But I mean, I was still very close-minded around 3D printing. It's like, okay, my print area, basically, you've got a cubed print area on a 3D printer. Especially these are the additive printing, so you're a glorified glue gun
Right.
on a CNC machine.
Mhm.
And so my brain had me just locked into this. Okay, my print area is 5 by 5 by 5, so I can only print something that fits 5 by 5 by 5. But if you look at xrobots.co.uk, he was the one that had me the eureka moment of, wow, you idiot, you just build a piece and stack it on. They're like Legos. And so that's where that transition. So with him, we were like,
you can do everything.
yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and see if you can
I'll
bring
gently try
that
not
half
to.
of ET?
See if he'll lift her, I'll grab him. But that's where, I mean, I can't do a lot of the printing that takes hours. So
This
is-
looks like a little more than
Look at
half
his
of
belly.
ET, right?
yeah, he looked down.
A little bit.
Yeah, he's just about. So he's told. What did I say? I believe in one of my videos, and I could be wrong on it, but he's 19 layers altogether. And this couldn't even be here because I do the model stuff. I took a user's model. It's in my video. I plugged that guy because it's his model, and then blew it up as large as I could in a 3D program and sliced it into pieces I knew would fit in my print area.
Yeah, so if
and
we
get
can
it print
turn
down.
it so that people can see. So you can obviously see the delineation here at the top that it's several different
Yeah.
pieces adhered together. So you can see with his little butt cheeks. You can see the little layers and then had a little
Yeah, and he's been a huge experiment. That's what some of this is for us. Because, like, right now, basically, he's only at what he is because of my wife. My wife does the printing. I make the model, cut it out, export it in the right settings I want, and put it on there. So we've used him as just a learning tool as well. So different pieces have different levels of infill, and these are completely hollow. A couple of these
Because
pieces
I would
are, 'cause
assume
want to
towards
see
the
it.
bottom you need it to be more dense.
That's exactly what the thought process was. The better he is down here, the stronger he needs to be as we put on that weight. These top 3 or 4 layers are actual, you can kind of hear that, I guess.
Yeah.
you can
They're
hear that.
hollow pieces. It's just a spiral print. And it gave us some things to correct in post-process. And then as the levels transitioning now is where we're starting to work on his electronics, because we're going to use Arduino and a pulsing
Nice.
set of probably Adafruit neopixels in his
Right.
chest, wired through to his finger. And so that's one. The current arm, we're doing the 15% infill on these pieces going up, so that infills the kind of grid on the inside to make it solid,
Yeah.
thicker, and obviously better structure. So as we get up a couple more layers, we've made his actual arm sockets and neck, so we can adjust the head manually, position the arms. But this is all version 1. For version 2, I want to get the knowledge around puppeteering. I want movable mouth, I want movable eyes, I want the head, the hands, the arms, the finger glow setup. He'll still be stationary, probably won't move unless we maybe put him on a Roomba and code the Roomba stuff. But then run everything off of a Bluetooth connection, local Bluetooth secure connection, just to run him. And actually, because I mean, we have great R6 droids, 3D droids, so moving around ET. Should be pretty good. So that's where the big printer comes in, because maybe I can do it in a little less time. Because you want a wild guess at the numbers, the print time that Michelle's put in, my wife has put into printing this guy, just to this point.
50 hours?
90?
209.
Wow.
And that's only print machine time. These hollow pieces are still a 3-hour print.
Yeah, 3D print 3D channel said bring out ET. So yeah, he's out here.
Let's
and
see.
So what are you going to, does this become a place where you like put some sealant here? Are you going to like paint over it eventually?
Yeah,
Is that
Bondo.
brown. We were like,
You're
let's
gonna
stay with
Bondo it?
brown. Yeah, Bondo, exactly. Because we were looking, actually, Jeffrey saw this when I have a video where ET fell off of my work desk and snapped the foot right off.
Ooh.
So you'll see different people on their print channels and 3D printing that absolutely despise ABS. It is a nasty chemical. It's a nasty plastic. But we're in Texas. PLA, if you look at that one, it is a lower melting temperature plastic. So just even being outside in Texas, it can get rather soft. Leave it in your car while you're in the con for 15 minutes. That's it. Your prop's done.
Yeah.
So this has that higher temperature. That's why we kind of focus with it. But the benefit is another nasty, fun chemical to work with, acetone.
Yes.
So acetone paste. I mean, I did a paste with the leg, and the leg's right back on, and it's structurally there.
Yep.
So all that.
so
piece came
virtually you
back
get like
together.
nail polish remover and then mix it with what?
Nothing. Actually, I mean, you can do a straight acetone, but it's not as good as if you make your own acetone paste. So I've got mason jars, and you do have to crack them as you make it, like open them to let it work. But we do about a 50-50 mix. So all my old scrap ABS, different pieces of support, like you notice on his foot. The thing about 3D printing, nothing can print in the air. So it needs support in order for something to stand up. So when we printed this foot, the odd shape of it wouldn't allow it to touch flat. So there was little support pieces. So we used that scrap, about a 50%, fill the jar about 50% with small plastic pieces, and then put the same amount of acetone in it, leave it sit, continuously crack the jar for a little while so that the pressure will purge off. And then we have a plastic paste that we paint in between.
Nice.
And you can see it in the videos where I'm sitting there just slopping it on to try and make sure I can get him to stick
So I have
together.
another question from Jeffrey. Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Did you use vase mode to print the upper parts, or did you just no infill?
It's like a vase mode. It's Cura. Cura is the software I'm using. It's free. I keep looking at Simplify 3D. I want to spend $150 on it, but it's like.
Well, as
so
much as
far.
you have been printing,
Yeah,
because I hear
it's
that's like
that,
one of the
but-
best softwares out there from when I've been talking to you.
Yeah, for him, basically within Cura on the expert settings, you have a spiral. I believe it's spiralize or spiral contour, and what it'll do is it just runs the outer shape of the piece, and that's what we use for the hollow pieces. There's no infill in these, so that did shorten. It actually cut print time in half on some of these pieces, so that helped. But structurally, it gets lost. And Simplified 3D. There's another.
And he says lots of Bondo and lots of Sandy.
Yeah, lots of Bondo, lots of sanding. So that's what we're going to do with him. Because we figured we were printing in the brown. It's like, yeah, brown. Then we're like, yeah, that's ET's not that dark brown. It's not a chocolate bunny. So we're going to have to do something about that. So the chest and the lighting pieces, we're on hiatus on our channel. So we can focus on this one project. But we're still printing. So he has 6 sections that'll be only in here that are running a Hatchbox translucent black. That's all I've been using. From day one when I started my printer, I ordered Hatchbox. It's always been good for me, so I stick with them. It's no argument. It's fairly cheap, and it comes in prime. So all right, 2 days and we're there.
Nice.
But there's 6 levels of the translucent black almost completed so that we can put the LEDs inside. And then when we paint, if you look, my Instagram has a small cube where I tested that translucent black with a couple layers of white primer to make
So
sure
I know
light
the
would work.
ones that I used a lot were Octave.
Okay, that's where I got. Yeah.
I usually get it from Octave. It's usually pretty cheap, and I haven't really had an issue with it.
Same place, Amazon it or
No, Octave.
Octave.
Octave.com.
Yeah.
how was their ship? How fast?
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
See, I
quick.
think that, I mean, I am probably one of the worst kind of consumers. I mean, I'm one of those guys who goes, give me down. So,
I need it in 2 days.
yeah. And
I
that's,
have
and
to
that's
have
actually
it.
how a lot of my planning works. It's like, okay, I'm down to 3 spools of brown. I need 4 more. So send that out. And I've looked at even becoming a distributor in some way to bring my price down. But that also transitioned to, the reason I haven't bought Simplified 3D, that $150 is pushing the company side, I guess, because you really wind up having to make your own kind of company
Right.
Yeah.
to do this type of stuff consistently and stay with the YouTube. But I've looked at the machine purchases I've made are in that end, because with all that waste plastic, scrap plastic, blown prints, it's really disturbing that there's no
Well, I know there was
recycling
something
method out there.
on Kickstarter a while back that it was something that created filament when you put plastic in there. We had talked about it.
Yeah,
a
there's
while
a
back.
number of machines. There's actually some in the wild right now, but they're not really recycle machines. They're make your own filament, which you can get a big savings. I mean, you figure $20 a roll on average for a spool of filament, and if you can do it yourself, you can kind of knock that down some. But it's not.
Yeah.
That's not to say that making your own filament's an easy process. If you look at Make Magazine, one of their videos, they have one of the stateside makers of filament, and you see their process, the way they cool it to ensure it stays at the right size. Like I print at 1.75 size filament. So if you go down a little, it's not a big loss. It might cause you a problem in the printer, but if you start to get fatter for some reason, then you're looking at jamming your hot end, clogging up your printer, and not being able to print. So that's a concern with one of the machines I purchased. But I just don't, I'm not one of the believers that you can't reuse plastic. I think we can totally reuse the scrap stuff from this, maybe in a balanced mix. So maybe it's 25% new plastic pellets mixed with 75% recycled stuff, and that works, or what that mix will be. So I've got a machine on pre-order for that, so that and that goes out from, like we were saying, I think
Very
you and I
nice.
talked about Panera
Yeah.
3D printing. They do a weekly news video, and you had pointed me to it after watching it. It was that the Ready Tech protocycler. I bought it, and they if you guys want an example of a decent company giving you feedback or info on what's being built, these guys on a monthly basis give you a large blog post, photos and everything, saying this is what we've been doing, this is what we're experiencing, this is what we're happening. So hopefully other people will take that example, because I've got some other Kickstarters and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a lot of cool stuff. But you have that, but some of the stuff like that I've done are like little things like this, like a little Hello Kitty
That's mine.
face. It's Colleen's. And here's a little 3D printed skull that I made. And this is the 3D printer that you're currently using to help you out with some of the projects.
I am holding his solid doodle.
He's holding it hostage. It's a Solid Doodle 2. And Solid Doodle is under now, or what's going on with that?
Solid Doodle unfortunately did go under, but that's the thing. It's like
But it was
some
like a
people must
good,
think that.
decent printer, and it was at a really good price. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with
It was
that.
a great price, considering. I mean, you look at the pricing now for a similar piece. I mean, everybody's kind of. Somebody else said it very, very recently in videos I watched. Is there's been a dive to the bottom
Right.
of the price panel, and you're seeing some really terrible stuff. But the thing people kind of forget, and if you're just a user, you don't have the technical experience. I mean, 3D printing is definitely a way to learn it, because the community around the individual printers themselves, the overall 3D printing community is all very, very positive. So it's like the Solid Doodle 2. I bet you people out there see Solid Doodle 2, if they're not very familiar, if they're new to it, and they see it at a great price, let's say $100. They're like, oh, that place is out of business. And in normal, you wouldn't touch a product like that. man, if I saw Saddle 2 right now, that sucker would be on my desktop in a heartbeat because of the community that's behind it, plus the fact that most of the hardware across all these printers is open source stuff.
Yeah, it's
Boards, electronics.
take it from here, put it from there, you're good to go.
Yeah, and that's where the printer that was given to me by my dad, that's where my Robo 3D came from, was busted when I got it. It was actually busted when he got it. So that the first thing I had to do was take it apart, and I plugged in something backwards, burned up a board, had to install a new board.
As you do, as you do.
Well, that's why I was so glad that
Jeffrey-
you took over Vince's, because he had used it, and then it had that glitch with the clip and everything, and that's just not his forte, right? So he was like, and I was like,
No.
oh, it's just like kind of hanging out there.
It just died.
You died.
So I gotta switch to my phone.
That's actually the dice I designed, isn't it? When you first got your
Yes,
printer?
this top one is the one that you designed.
Yeah, we still have a lot to learn with that one.
This one was for
Pinchas.
Pinchas.
Yep.
Learned a lot off that model.
Yeah.
I believe I still have that model.
You just need to make not rounded corners on it. I think it'll work perfectly.
You know, I think I can.
You
still do
could
the
probably
rounded
do it
corners.
now
just
because
comes
you know
down to
more about it.
Yeah, it comes down to how those shapes get made in the 3D program. But there's so many different things within models. And actually, just to plug Jeffrey's channel, him and I both use Cinema 4D. He's working on a series, like educating people how to use Cinema 4D and do different things from a basic level moving up to advanced. So
Well,
I'll be
they have
following
Cinema
along
4D
with his because I'm sure there's tricks I won't
But they
know.
also have like Google SketchUp. Right?
SketchUp or even Tinkercad, and a lot of the things I build. Tinkercad for me I love it because it's a WYSIWYG. It's what you get. You can get your sizing, and if you look at the large format 3D printer, virtually every part on that was done in Tinkercad, and it's as long as I use a caliper and say okay, it needs to be this many millimeters, and I put it in there. My printer is within enough of a tolerance that if anything, I may need to sand lightly. And be good. And then the beauty of that is the Tinkercad's community is pretty good about putting in contests, and there's a lot of pieces pre-built, so it's good for kids to get in and understand that 3D space and how to build within it.
Here we go. He's got a lot of stuff to say. Jeffrey does. I'm always ordering filament. Never have enough. Just seems to go so fast, and so many options of manufacturers. Feel extrude or feel extruder.
Yep.
Yeah, he corrected himself on that. Feel extruder. $299 for this machine to make your own filament from recycled plastic.
Yeah.
But it was like recycled plastic, like you could put like a plastic soda bottle in
Like
there,
your bottle and stuff.
right?
Yeah, the one that we're looking at. So the fill extruder is really just its own machine. You've got a hopper on the top, and you feed in whatever plastic it is that it's going to extrude. And I can't speak totally to what plastic you could use. The only reason I went with the protocycler is because it has a grinder built into it, and it's a hand grinder, but I'll hook a drill up to it or something. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, let's time lapse and crank this thing for hours. But that grinder
And you hook
is the
a drill
purpose.
up to it?
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they don't want you to know it, but they do it in one of their hidden videos. They're like, we need to grind some stuff because they're pushing for the UE certification.
All right.
So when you look at the
What's a UE certification?
Underwriters Laboratories?
UL.
UL.
Yeah.
Underwriter
Okay.
Laboratory. So you've got this. I'm assuming they're totally independent. I could be speaking totally out of an orifice, but they do an inspection over the product and essentially certify that it's safe
Yeah.
in your home. So that's what they've been doing since
Like
they started.
you'll
out as an
see it on like
Indiegogo
a plug,
Yep.
or like you'll see on extension cords. It'll have like a UL symbol on there.
most everything. So that's what they're going through. They've changed a lot of, like, you can't have printed parts. You can't have printed parts.
Pikachu Charizard.
Yeah. Y'all are talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm in a Charlie Brown.
I get to talk now, so it's kind of cool.
Oh, damn. Can you turn the
Nothing to
camera
do
off
with
real
this.
quick?
Killing
Some
Vince's
stuff
mic.
is going to go
Oops.
down.
Thanks, bud. I'm throwing it to you.
Have you seen a lot of people try to make props, like, for cosplay? I can imagine, like, making armor or something out of this would be really good, like, for Ren Fair, especially, you know, if
That's
you could...
where, that's kind of where a lot of this stuff came from, because if you look, the box I'm working on in some of my videos, that wooden box, is 50% of a vacuum former.
Right.
And so I want to make my son a full set of armor, a trooper, and it's we want to make him 5s.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get him all set with it. So that's where that kind of feeds to the large printer.
Yeah.
Because I was going, okay, I can make these pieces and I can put these things together, but you know what? If I have a really big damn printer, I can just print a whole leg and be done. So that's where some of that mentality comes in. And the prop stuff, I've worked with actually he's a former student. He does a lot of Power Rangers things, and we've been staying in touch with each other to see how we can do something together and get some prop pieces together. We've looked at swords. There's the video, I hate to keep pointing to my channel. It's like plug. I'm not doing it purposely. But we printed him the SPD gun from the Rangers. So that's the start for us. And he got that. He's working on it, painting it, sanding it down, and then we're going to move to another piece for it.
Very nice.
So, because you guys know me. Have you ever seen me do cosplay?
No.
But I have a total hankering to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not
to
yet,
me,
right?
Yeah, he will. He will.
because
when
I've
he
been
does it,
waiting
he's
to
gonna
see
go
him
all
do it.
out.
Yeah. I've been waiting because it's gonna be
it'll
off
be like
the
2
charts.
years after the movies come out, and I'm gonna walk in like it happened yesterday. But so if you look at the one that my wife and I were sitting there watching, I forget what film we were sitting in for the previews, and when Warcraft came across and I saw that armor, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, I want that. And then there's a guy I follow on my Instagram who did an orc out of Warcraft, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah,
talented people out there doing killer cosplay stuff, and that's just like, man, I want to make stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to. That I'm just sitting there going, I don't want to have to go to work and pay damn bills. Can't I just stay home and make stuff? So hopefully that'll eventually transition.
that would be kind of cool. Jeffrey says bottles work as long as you check the recycle tag on the bottom. Some are PLA, some are PET. Just depends.
Pull
kind.
that. I think I have the number chart on the specific plastics and going, and that's what I'm looking at, because with that, hopefully, I've got a lot of things betting on these couple of machines, and it kind of sucks because it's a couple of months out.
Yeah.
Before those hit too, so hopefully a lot of that stuff will be in hand. I'll get to play with it before Game Expo. Yeah. Because we want to bring that table in there and put some things out for people.
Bringing us to a good thing. You're going to be at the Game Expo 2.0. So it's a tabletop gaming convention that we run here in San Antonio, Texas, and you'll be 3D printing stuff. This is going to open up a whole other thing, because we're gonna talk about what we talked about before about that Kickstarter thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're gonna be there. You could like print virtually anything. I mean, people can come up. Well, can you print my character? And you can go up. He could probably do it. And he could probably. I don't know. I don't want to like.
Right. All of a sudden, I got a line at my table. Just got to look at my face. Like,
oh, just kidding.
You
corner
can
crying.
make changes because you know 3D modeling.
Yeah, and I mean, my skills are always growing, and I would consider. I would do the resume thing when it comes to my skills, which is always just say you're an intermediate. That way you're not blowing your ego up, and you're not lying. So you're at the high end of beginner. So just say intermediate. Intermediate. But there's a lot of good stuff out. It's neat to see the way the knowledge is working, and we're in such a goofy kind of thing in the world with all sorts of negative and positive things going on. But the way the economy functions, and this stuff's been happening for years, but you would think it would happen sooner. But this is a long window of how the economy is going to change, and we're doing things on the net and printing. So I'll increase those skills as I go. Especially, I want to focus on organic stuff. It seems to be the difficult piece.
Jeffrey has a lot to say here. Cosplay takes about 50% of the 3D printing out there. Some are making molds for the prints and then casting it in resin so they can repeat the parts over and over.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's what you were talking about before, is that's what you wanted to go into, the injection molding kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's where we look, because if you look at a lot of things, and I'm going to focus in the Power Rangers area, because when I started working with the student, I started looking at the prices and things that occur in that. And quality props, get the money. And it is a quality prop. And you look at these builders and the work they put into them, and the work that my student Jan does.
Well, and you've
it's
watched.
like painting a car quality car paint job on a helmet. It's stunning.
You've watched Face Off, right?
I
On
did.
Sci-Fi? Yeah.
I did. And then Jim
so
Henson's.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can you imagine being able to build something like this to model so that they could do the makeup essentially over and over again? And yeah.
Well, that's what if you look at live cast that you do with people right now, you're taking a highly paid actor, sitting them down for a while, pouring a live cast of their body or their head. In this situation now, using, say, even something probably need to be a little more advanced, but say Skinect. Skinect software uses an Xbox Kinect sensor, and essentially a standard position of the person, and you rotate them, and you can get a pretty
That, or
detailed
even do
scan.
it from like four photos, right?
Well, even
that they
Google,
were doing
Google
it.
has an app, I believe it's 123D Sketch,
Yes,
that
that's the
you
one.
get a number of photos all the way around the person, and it can produce a pretty good high poly model. And that's the thing, to get that detail, you need that high poly. And so the machines themselves, to be able to render that kind of bit, are pretty intensive. But I mean, if you look at it, we have people making printers that are the size of the room, the height of a room, and you can have one long print and go. But the stability of the machine,
Like you
would warrant
making
pieces.
your 48 by 48 by 48.
That's that
printer.
was a brilliant idea. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Is gonna be great. This is gonna be 4 feet. And
It
was like,
still look, but the
how am I
thing
gonna get
is,
it out of the house? I thought about that after. That's about how
The
things go.
oops.
You get half of
Take
it
the
built.
ball
you're like,
out, you'll be okay.
it seemed
Yeah.
pretty breakable. From what I saw, it looks like you could break it down fairly easy.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the one thing I've learned, and that's where the only reason the bed itself is not 47 inches. I mean, there's obvious other pieces of hardware that have to come in. The rails that will bring the bed up and down, bringing the print head back and forth across the surface.
Can you print this model? I'll be back in 25 hours to pick it up.
That's what we'd be looking at.
So
But
where
that's
is
it?
it?
I mean, it's only 36 because the price of a aluminum bed or a heated bed is massive. To get a 48 by 48 piece of aluminum square at the right thickness, and for me, in my head, this was my own. I mean, I'm no engineer, but if I look at other printers, that's where I pull my ideas and pieces from. I'm grabbing from every pot possible, and I look at 2 pieces of aluminum stacked on top of each other with the bottom one vented. I had a bed crack on my other printer, so I saved the heated bed from it. But if I put that on an aluminum, I can get the heat's going to radiate, so I'll have a bigger heated area. But that's $400 for 2 pieces of aluminum. So one of my videos, you'll probably see me buying an aluminum toolbox off of Craigslist, and we cut the sucker down and
Nice.
aluminum weld it back together and sand those pieces. But
And are you
those pieces,
3D printing some of the pieces that you're using to make the new 3D printer?
Yeah, all the
All the
corner
corner
pieces.
kind of
Yeah.
really.
all the corner
I
choices
mean, that's
are
pretty
that,
cool.
and then the actual pieces, the motor hose. And I'm using another person's idea. This is not by all mine at all. It's a XYZ print stuff, and I link to it to give the guy total props. And then I'm just changing it around the way I think benefits the print. So it's engineering on the fly without any life-threatening pieces involved. If this was some sort of high-speed rotary blade, we might want to invest in some more
we've had-
knowledge. But
We've had a lot of people asking us, since we also make tabletop games, they asked us, well, when are you going to make a miniatures game? I was like, well, I don't really do miniatures games. I was like, and the stuff to do it would be, it just seems too far-fetched for me to do something like that. But I had an idea. I've had this for a long time, but I had an idea. I was like, why don't I put all the pieces out there that you can 3D print yourself for free and just cost whatever it costs for you to get it done, and then just put all those models out there and then just sell the core book.
Yeah.
And that's how
that's
you can
a
get
completely
around some
viable
of this
plan.
stuff, and then you're not paying these exorbitant amounts for different 3D models, because a lot of them used to be done in like pewter.
yeah,
But now they're starting to be done in plastic. So, and if you did 3D printed your own stuff, then it'll be even cheaper for you. And you're just printing stuff that high, so
Yeah,
It wouldn't
it's
take
still
very
decent
much.
Print. I mean, if you do it, I mean, there's some of the nuances of a print. If I was going to print a character,
Mm-hmm.
knowing my desire for what I would want my character to look like, I'd use the smallest print head. I'd use the smallest micron possible for print layers,
Mm-hmm.
and try and get as much detail as possible. So even something that big, you can turn it into as long as a print you want to ensure you're getting the quality and
Yeah.
the detail. But the pewter, I mean, that's the reason I bought that higher end part of that model, or machine. It's a plastic injection, but it also does injection of low metals, or low melting tint metals, including pewter.
Mm-hmm.
So that I mean, I look at the miniatures as hopefully a market here in town for people who are like, yeah, print that stuff. I mean, because that's
Well,
that's
they
a whole
have
interesting price
like
structure.
what you call it, the Armada and X-wing and stuff that they need sometimes, like the asteroids. That need to.
Yeah, they
that
want like
want-
three-dimensional terrain that's not necessarily, that doesn't come with the game, because in the game the terrain it's a cardboard disc that just
Mhm.
lays down, and so you've got to imagine it, and it's okay to imagine it, right? We all want to use our imagination, but you're already vested in this miniatures game, right? And you've got your miniatures out there, so they want to have, like, there's been a space battle here before, so there's debris
There should be
of
things
these
in the
broken
way,
down,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, who was it that was it Nightwatch? Right?
Not much.
Who prints their own terrain currently?
They make their
They
own.
There we
make
go,
it.
yeah.
They make it with like dental.
Okay. So they're casting.
They cast it. Yeah,
cast it.
cast it,
Mhm.
and
that's
then
what
they
we're
paint
talking
it
about
and stuff.
on the table possibility, trying to print a few different
Mhm.
things, and we'll look at those ideas, because I'd like to print terrain. I think that'd be pretty cool. There's so many ways that you could do that stuff. So it's like in Tinkercad. I've got a mech halfway built in Tinkercad.
Nice.
That I was trying to do for a mech contest, or not a mech, but a connector piece contest that Tinkercad was having last month. I didn't make it into it, unfortunately, but they use connector pieces, so you'll print this palette of pieces and they'll pop together, so you have movable joints
Huh.
on the mech. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I'll use it for this mech piece, and I'm gonna finish that one and release it. But it'd be cool to see the miniature. Where's that void in the miniatures for people,
Mm-hmm.
and look at where that's at for the local population.
I know we talked before about bio 3D printing, and Colleen didn't think that was like a thing.
Yeah, no, that's
No, I mean, I had seen like them doing prostheses and things like that, but I didn't know it was like internal organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was Grey's Anatomy, like just making stuff up.
Nope.
You know, I didn't know that was a thing. So
Yeah, I thought it was still in a much more of an infancy stage than it actually is.
Yeah.
And the one of our universities here in town has purchased purchased or acquired a machine for doing. The Department of Biomedical Engineering at UTSA has one to print organic tissues and potentially regenerate organs. So it's not the exact relation that we would think of to 3D printing, but they're in such a close family.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. So what does that do? Let me take you to the dark side again. So now we already live longer than our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We have healthcare, and I don't know if you saw the piece come across for the gentleman who lived 18 months waiting for a heart transplant with a mechanical heart in his chest, but hooked to an air pump in a backpack.
In a backpack, yeah.
Wow.
So if we take this a little bit further, and we look at all the things we've looked in science fiction where the city's overpopulated, everything's too smog, now we live above. Long after we've pushed up daisies, I'm sure, but you can picture these futures we used to look at and go, oh man, that's totally scary. And you can see some potential realities of what happens when everybody lives longer.
Yeah.
But then so take it back to the light side of that. More people, more thinking, more answers to problems. More problems, but more answers to those problems.
yeah.
So,
But then we can keep the dummies there longer. I don't know if that's a good idea. We're almost out of time. The ones that don't do as much thinking. Because we need more people doing more thinking to get some of the problems that we have. I mean, education is the key, but
Depends
It
on the
takes a long
educator.
time. It just takes a long time.
We've had that conversation. We need educators.
Real education,
with
I mean.
massive proper income to.
Well, very cool. Well, we've come to the end of our show. Patrick, thanks for coming.
Thank you for
We
having me.
talked about Pokemon Go. If you haven't gotten it yet and started playing it, play it. It's a lot of fun. It promotes health. It promotes camaraderie and socialization. So get out there and do it and walk around and find some Pokemons.
Talk to other humans.
Talk to
other humans. Yes, that's definitely a good thing. We talked about all our 3D printing stuff. Oh, and I'm getting a laser engraver this week or next week,
Have
something
all
like
the
that.
toys.
So
We will
it's
make
going to be a
things.
new toy that I can do stuff with. So that's going to be kind of cool.
You can use it in the
We'll be
classroom.
talking again because it has a lot of the same characteristics as a 3D printer or a CNC machine because it's kind of just doing the X and Y axis.
Yeah, heights and depths. There's some other things that you can do within those settings. So that's gonna be a cool machine. That's
Yeah.
another machine you've gotten ahead of me that I'm like, ooh. Can I play?
Hey, damn it,
Have to get
Vince.
permission. Can I go with Vince's again this weekend, please?
You go hang out with Vince and
We're
play
gonna
with the
do stuff.
toys.
We're gonna play.
Even though you're getting a $4,000 piece of equipment here pretty soon,
We need our own maker
that
space.
I won't do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. that's a rough subject because that number, but if it comes through, man, it's.
I'm sure
Gotta
you'll
be
come
good.
back and talk about it and let
Yeah,
us know what it's
definitely.
all about
Definitely will.
once it is, if you actually do get it. But thanks for coming in, and thanks for watching us. This is Friday again. We're Geek Out Say. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and that's Patrick, and that's Chris.
Geek Out Say. See you later.